This is a presentation of BSRN, Box Studios Radio Network. The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here is your host of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for April 25th, 2024. This is season 13, episode 41, and this is episode 426 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. Hello, everybody. My name is Bob Howard. Thank you very much for joining us. We have a great show planned for you. We have actually a great show also planned for Sunday as well, and I'll get to that in just a little bit. What a great day on Wednesday. I got to spend about 3 or 4 hours in the arena with the Binghamton Black Bears, talking to some of the Black Bears. Off the air, I talked to Gavin Yates, who's excited about this weekend. And I talked to Colin Fitzgerald for just a little bit and a couple of the other boys. But for you guys today, you're going to get to hear from Jesse Anderson, Donald Olivieri, and Brant Sherwood, which will be pretty cool. And when I think about this weekend, I think about how first class the Binghamton Black Bears are. And this is a credit to Andreas Johansson. The team will be flying back on Friday. Actually on Saturday morning. So after the Friday game, they will go to a hotel. They will sleep, get a good night's sleep and everything, and then they are going to fly back to I think some are flying into Syracuse, some are flying into Elmira, but because they had to take two different flights to make this work, but that's okay. And they're going to be here, and a couple of the guys aren't going to travel with the team, some of the Black Aces, and that'll make sure that they are rested, healthy, and ready. The bus will then come back to Binghamton empty-handed, technically, I guess, with all the gear in it, pretty much. And but the boys will spend less time in a bus than possibly before the Saturday game than the Motor City Rockers. So first class type of treatment by Andreas Johansson. Very glad that he's doing that. Again, this team right now, right here in this season is trying to win a championship, and you got to love that. So this weekend is obviously very cool. I did joke around with a couple of the boys about my prediction of 3 games. I still think Trevor Babin can potentially get a steal a game somehow, some way. When you break down the numbers, the Motor City Rockers don't have anybody really on the team except for maybe TJ Delaney that has scored pretty well against the Black Bears. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But we got a lot of things to get to, so I will cut my monologue a little bit short for this start, even though I've been kind of doing these monologues a little bit before I get to the must-reads. The Power Play Post Show is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on whichever platform you listen to your podcast and subscribe. Please join the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. Go to Facebook and search for the Power Play Post Show. And check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your Binghamton hockey information and curiosity. And on this edition of the Power Play Post Show, I already kind of gave it up a little bit, but we got Binghamton Black Bears, Donald Olivieri. Had a great conversation with him on Tuesday night. And then on Wednesday, spoke to Jesse Anderson and Brant Sherwood, right? A little bit of the leadership core and whatnot. So let's get right into it, all right? The Black Bears sweep the Watertown Wolves in 2 games, winning Game 1 4-2 and Game 2 7-2, which now leads them to a 3-game series versus the Motor City Rockers. Well, how did Motor City get here? Well, the Motor City Rockers defeated the Danbury Hat-Tricks in 3 games to advance to the second round of the Commissioner's Cup playoffs. The Rockers went into Danbury and defeated the Hat-Tricks 3-2 in overtime at the Danbury Ice Arena. That was Game 1 on Friday. TJ Sneath scored the game-winning goal in OT and at the 16:24 mark, and was assisted by Josh Colton and Lane King. These are the names that you should be familiar with going into the series. Colton and King scored the two come-from-behind goals for the Rockers and are two players to look out for in this upcoming series. Now, understand they were down by 2 goals, just like Binghamton was, but they're able to come back like Binghamton does. So, very important parts to this. Then, as Game 2 went into Fraser, Michigan, the Danbury Hat-Tricks got the road win to tie the series, winning the game 4-2. Okay, Colby Johnson scored 2 goals for the Hat-Tricks, including the game winner, but was not selected as the number 1 star of the game, which I just thought was absolutely strange and insane. But how these things are picked, I have no idea anymore. It's not like the old days where they used to go to the working media. Maybe there isn't working media in most of these cities, but I'm there. Nobody asked me in Binghamton. For the Rockers, TJ Sneath and Josh Colton scored the 2 lone goals for the Rockers. Again, these are names you got to be familiar with going into the series. These are 2 offensive weapons the Black Bears will need to look at. This set up a Game 3 matchup on Sunday as the Black Bears on the same night, Saturday, defeated the Wolves 7-2 and waited and watched to see their next opponent would be. A home team in Game 3 finally got a win as the Rockers knocked off the Hat-Tricks 4-1 in a game that Danbury just wasn't in it. They scored their lone goal in the third period at the 13:28 mark with the goalie already pulled, and William Berry got the lone goal. Another threat from the Rockers, Scott Koash, who has been a good player for them all season, scored 2 goals in the game, and Mike Wynn got on the scoreboard as well. TJ Delaney on the score sheet with a goal to seal it with McCollum still pulled. All right, so the Rockers so far in the playoffs, their stats, if we look at them right now, okay, you have 3 guys with 2 goals apiece. All right, so Josh Colton has 2 goals. TJ Sneath has 2 goals, and Scott Koash have 2 goals. This is not a surprise to me. These are the guys that are going to get on the score sheet on a regular basis. Now, TJ Delaney has a goal. Mike Wynn has a goal on the blue line, and Lane King as well. Now, Lane King's a little bit newer to the team, but he's definitely a guy to look out for on the blue line. They got 3 blue liners that can really do well and score, okay? So those are the guys. That's basically their stats. Josh Colton had 3 points. Lane King had, I'm sorry, I do apologize on that. Josh Colton had 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points. Lane King had a goal and 4 assists for 5 points. TJ Sneath had 2 goals and 2 assists for 4 points. The rest of the guys had 3 points or 2 points respectively. Scott Koash had 2 goals and assists for 3. TJ Delaney had a goal and 2 assists for 3. And then Mike Wynn had a goal and an assist. Okay. Now, as we all know, Trevor Babin played all 3 games, and he went 2-1. He saw 136 shots, okay, and saved 129 of them. Only gave up 7 goals, 2.17 goals against average, and a .949 save percentage. I do not expect his numbers to be that high after he plays against the Binghamton Black Bears. All right. So the standouts for the Rockers, Trevor Babin. He's good down low, but the way to beat him is on the top, is up top and then on either side. And the Black Bears know this, right? They've already been talking about it. It was something that they looked at video on Wednesday before I even got there, and that was something that they talked about. Go high, go up, try to whip him right across his ears, right? For the Rockers, TJ Sneath and Josh Colton scored the 2 lone goals. The Rockers are the 2 offensive weapons the Black Bears will need to look at. I already read that part. The standouts for the Rockers, obviously we know Trevor Babin. They have 3 D-men who are good with the puck and can score. Mike Wynn, Josh Colton, and Lane King, okay? Scott Koash is one of their top threats on the offense side, but you cannot forget about Declan Conway, TJ Sneath, Jonathan Giuliano, and TJ Delaney. I think TJ Delaney is probably going to be the guy that's going to be the really dangerous guy. All right, the Black Bears have played the Rockers 5 times this season, okay? And In game one, which was in Binghamton, New York, Motor City lost that game 8-1. Okay, so Black Bears came out, played really well. Ricardo Gonzalez, he played the first game and lost that to Connor McAnanama. Okay, so very high-powered game and everything offensively for the Binghamton Black Bears. Now, on February 2nd, when the Motor City Rockers came in for the last game that they were going to play in Binghamton, a little bit closer of a game, but it was 6-3. So the Black Bears at this point had already scored 14 goals against the Motor City Rockers, to the Rockers 4. And Trevor Babin was in that game. Now, he was suspended in the January 6th game, so he couldn't play. He was suspended twice before playing against the Binghamton Black Bears. But he played the February 2nd game. Connor McAnanama got the win, got to start again, and they won 6-3. Okay? February 9th and 10th, they were in Motor City. Okay? And the Black Bears go win. Again, Trevor Babin suspended. I think it was like a game or 2 games before that. He got like a 3 or 4 game suspension. And so he did not get to play the game. So Ricardo Gonzalez played again. Black Bears scored 7 goals to the Motor City Rockers 5 goals. So the Motor City Rockers at home, got, and it was 5 different goal scorers during that game. Okay, Connor McAnanama getting his 3rd win against the Motor City Rockers here, and Gonzalez losing his 2nd game. Now, the next 2 games was Nolan Egbert versus Trevor Babin. That would be February 10th, so the day after the 7-5 win. The Motor City Rockers, they won that game 3-1. Now, Black Bears came back on another Michigan trip. They played Port Huron, and I believe this was the 2nd game of the trip and everything. On March 30th, this was a loss as well. So Motor City won that game 6-4, scored a little bit more and everything. Now, again, other than the February 10th game where we only scored 1 goal, the Black Bears have found a way to get in the net pretty consistently against the Motor City Rockers. So the Black Bears are very confident going up against Trevor Babin. They're not worried about that at all. He can get a game where he can just buckle down and one of the things that you have to understand is the Black Bears are going to try to get into Babin's head, because the one thing that we all know, yes, he's good down low. Yes, you can beat him up high, but he's also somebody that can get rattled, and you can get into his head, and you can break down that mental fortitude where he's got to be strong, but he's like, screw this, and he takes a penalty, or he takes 2 penalties, or he comes out of his crease, and there's other actions that could happen and everything. They're going to do that with him because they know. But at the same time, I think he knows that's coming, right? I don't think he's a dumb player at all and doesn't think that that's going to happen. He knows it's coming, right? So the next thing I want to look at is the game by game and how the players who are on these teams have played against each other, okay? So I'm not going to break down each game and everything and who scored what and everything. I will tell you this. There's not one player on the Motor City Rockers, okay, and this is very interesting here, that scored more than 1 goal in any one game against the Binghamton Black Bears, right? So in any game of the 5 games, none of their guys had multi-goal games. So it was a little bit spread out a little bit when they did score, but, you take Josh Colton, he was the only one that scored in game 1 on January 6th. Okay, they only scored 1 goal, but he was the only guy. You go to the next game, and TJ Delaney got a goal, Josh Colton got a goal, and Eric Organizasoff got a goal as well, right? So, but no guy on that team got multi-goals. Now, it's a little bit different with the Black Bears. Okay, the Black Bears, they got a hat trick by Dakota Bond and Donald Olivieri. And so in one particular game, 2 different games that got hat tricks. Gavin Yates had 2 goals in one game. So you have guys like Kyle Stefan. He had 2 goals in the last game against them, the 3:30 game. So some guys can get hot against the Motor City Rockers, but the Motor City Rockers players didn't really get hot against the Binghamton Black Bears. Now, you can look at those numbers and you could point it in either fork of the road, right? Okay, so we spread out the scoring, or the Black Bears did a good job making sure nobody got hot. Where on the other side of that, Dakota Bond getting the hat trick in the 2-9 game and Donald Olivieri getting it on the 2-2 game, right? But other guys also scored in those games as well. Here's how the numbers break down, okay? Gavin Yates had 10 points against the Motor City Rockers in the 5 games. Okay, he had 2 goals and 8 assists. So he was an assist machine against the Motor City Rockers. Tyson Kirkby had 2 goals and 7 assists for 9 points. But the guy who obviously stood out the most was Dakota Bond. Well, I wouldn't say the most, but he had 5 goals, 3 in the one game, and he had 1 goal in the 30th game of March and January 6th. So across the board, Dakota Bond did very well against the Motor City Rockers. Okay, he had 6 points, 5 goals, 1 assist for 6 points. The Black Bears had Austin Thompson with a goal and 4 assists for 5 points, and then they had 4 guys with 4 points. So the Black Bears really racked up a lot of points and everything. Jake Schultz, obviously, he had 2 goals and 2 assists. He's obviously not going to be on the team. But everybody else pretty much on this list, other than Thomas Ray and Nikita Vashkin, are with the team. So there are guys that are going to probably sit who've had a little bit of success against these guys. And there's, a couple guys that haven't seen them yet. Right? So very interesting there. Even Andrew Utero has a goal against the Motor City Rockers. So we got to remember that. Andrew Utero got a goal on February 9th against the Rockers. All right, so let's go to the Motor City Rocker side of things, right? So we talked about how Gavin Yates had 2 goals and 8 assists for 10 points. TJ Delaney was probably the most consistent player against the Black Bears. He had 3 goals and 5 assists for 8 points. And then Jonathan Giuliano, who I don't think people talk about enough, but he was very consistent against the Black Bears. He had 2 goals and 5 assists for 7 points. And Josh Colton, 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. They had a bunch of guys that also had 3 points and everything. And there's guys in here that may not have scored a lot against the Black Bears, but they are going to definitely get on the score sheet because they already have in the playoffs, like TJ Sneath and Declan Conway. Lane King is going to be good. Scott Kowash, we know, is going to be good. He had 2 goals and 3 assists. So these numbers, I'm going to take these screenshots and definitely post them on the Facebook page sometime on Thursday so you guys can see these numbers and see the breakdown of how guys scored against them and everything. So that is my preview. Listen, I think this is going to still go 3 games. I know the boys are confident, and as they should be confident, but I just still see a potential Game 3 on Sunday. I hope I'm wrong. I really do think that the Black Bears are going to go in and win on Friday night. I believe they're all set and they're ready for it. They don't want to have a repeat of the Watertown game the game before. So I think they're really looking forward to getting on the board quick, early, and consistently peppering him with shots, and I think they really want to get those slap shots, the one-timers and the slap shots really underway against him. As that puck rises up, that's where he has a hard time catching up with it and making the saves. Down low, so if you're in front and there's a rebound, he doesn't always necessarily miss those. He's pretty good down low and everything. One of the things that Coach Sherwood talks about, and I think it's true, guys like Austin Thompson, when they're in front of the net, he's going to get beat up. He's going to have a lot of playing time, and he's going to be down in front of that net, and he's going to take a beating either from Trevor Babin or from one of the defensemen trying to keep him out of there. So I think it's going to be an interesting series. I still think it might go 3. I'm just calling it safely 3 for the Binghamton Black Bears. But they're hoping not. I'm hoping that I do get Sunday off. That would be kind of nice to just write an article in the morning and then relax the rest of the day. But hey, if we're at the the Visions Veterans Memorial Arena, so be it. That's okay. Okay. So we have, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the 2 audio feeds first from the practice on Wednesday, where I talked to Jesse Anderson and then I talked to Coach Sherwood. After that, after those 2 pieces run, we will run the Donald Olivieri interview that I did on Tuesday night. And so I'll be back after all of that to kind of wrap this all up. And you're going to want to listen at the end. I'm going to announce our next interview for Sunday that I'll be doing on Thursday evening. So this evening, we'll be recording a very special interview. You get to hear who it is at the end of the show. My last little segment, I will announce it then, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. But coming up next here on the Power Play Post Show, again, like I said, it's going to be Jesse Anderson, then Coach Sherwood, and then Donald Olivieri. And I'll talk to you guys on the other side of that. We'll be right back, right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers.
Hi, this is Brandon Buczynski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
All right, so obviously a sweep against the Watertown Wolves. Talk a little bit about that series and how that has prepared you guys now for Motor City.
Yeah, I mean, the first game we went down 2-0, and you saw the resiliency and the urgency out of the guys. So we came back and won the game 4-2, and then we kept it up into Saturday and just showed that, we finished first for a reason. All the guys in here know that we want to win, and that's the bottom line. And looking forward to this weekend against Motor City. We just, you watch some video and you just prepare, and I think we've done everything we can and we're ready to go. Yeah,
it was. You guys went down 2-0 and come back. 17 comeback from behinds this year. I don't know if you guys knew that stat and everything coming into the Watertown series and everything, but then also dominating, a blowout kind of win on Saturday, and that seemed to be the motive pretty much all season long. Comeback wins and also kind of those dominated wins.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly didn't know that we had 17 comeback wins, but again, it shows you how resilient we are, that no matter what, we could be down by a couple goals, but we believe in each other, that we can come back from any deficits, so it's always a good thing. And yeah, we sometimes when you're down one period or 2 periods, you kind of just you win that game and you got to come back even stronger than the night before. So that's usually been our motto, is just be ready for every game. 5 games against Motor City this year, 3-2 against them. I think you guys lost 2 games to Trevor Babin. Beat him once. Is he the guy you have to concentrate the most on when it comes to the Rockers? I disagree. I mean, okay. I know that a lot of guys like to pump up how good of a goalie he is, but I mean, we scored, I think, 270 goals this season for a reason. So, I mean, I think we can beat any goalie on any given day. Just get shots, get in the way, make sure you can't see the puck, then take care of the business as it is.
And what do you remember about those 5 games against them? What kind of hockey do you think they're going to bring to you guys, especially Friday night at home in Fraser, Michigan?
To be honest, I don't think we played our best games when we've been there. We had, I think, 1 game we won there. We only had 6 guys or 7 guys get a point. Everyone wasn't jiving. We weren't all rolling. So I think we get over there, we're going to be going down a day early. We're going to have everybody together on the bus, making good commotion, getting ready, and then Friday comes, we're locked in, ready for the game. So I think it'll be a little bit different than the regular season.
Give me your assessment of the defense right now for the Binghamton Black Bears, because there's a plethora of defensemen, right? LA and JT, they sat out last week and everything. Give me your assessment on the defense right now.
I mean, it's tough, guys sit out, especially now in playoff time. When you have such a good deep D-core, it sucks for the guys that got to sit out. But I mean, at any point, anybody can be plugged into any of the positions and thrive. So it's always a good thing to have, especially being in playoffs and injuries come about. So you just never know.
How was your season overall in the regular season? What were your thoughts? I know we talked earlier in the season, and you hadn't scored a lot of goals yet, and you went back and forth. You're one of those super players we call on the ice, where you're playing forward, you're playing defense. What did you think overall of your
overall season?
I mean, my overall season, I was a little disappointed in myself near the end, but,
Well, why were you disappointed, Jesse? I mean, because you had a good season, I thought, and you're an important part of this team.
Yeah, I mean, I always expect better of myself. I don't know, just the way I've always been. I look at, like, I know I played mostly defense this year, but I look at, like, the goals thing. I mean, again, this is picking at myself. This isn't stuff that I'm going to hang my head about. I'm happy that we've won, and that's all that really matters to me, so... But yeah, just little things that I think I could have done better. I could have done to help the team or just even myself. But those don't matter right now. It's playoff time, and all I want to do is win.
Now you guys can't choose who you play in this round and everything. Is there a part of you guys that really wanted to play against Danbury and get a little bit of that revenge?
I mean, yeah, there always is that little revenge factor, but unfortunately, they just they lost. That's the nature of how playoffs work. So I mean, we were ready for either team. It didn't really matter. We have a round that we have to take care of, and then if we do make it on, which I'm pretty positive we're going to, we look to the final. But right now, main focus is Motor City, and that's all I'm thinking about.
And obviously, no travel day in between, right? You guys get out to Motor City. You guys are flying back and everything. Yeah. So talk a little bit about how that should impact the game a little bit on Saturday, because you guys will be a little bit more rested than Motor City, who will probably be coming out on a bus.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could say too much about it just because I don't want to get the league all mad at me.
Yeah, sure. No, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, we're traveling down Thursday. We're leaving Thursday morning, so we'll be down there Thursday, hopefully at some decent time in the evening. And then, we'll have the Friday morning practice and then Friday night game. And then, we'll go to sleep and take a plane ride back, which is super nice. I mean, you don't see it very often that you play back-to-back days, and I don't think any professional hockey league above us has that. There's always a travel day. So it's very inconvenient, but at the same time, I understand it. It's money, but from a player safety standpoint, I think it'd be a lot better to have a travel day.
And would you rather play Thursday, have the day off, and then play Saturday, Sunday?
Absolutely. Either that or like a Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. I know it's tough because every team wants their home game, especially on the weekend when they get more people. But at the same time, that's why you fight for the number one seed. So
awesome, Jesse. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We're back here with Coach Brant Sherwood. And, Coach, let's talk a little bit about the Watertown series. A come-from-behind win on Friday, and then a dominating win on Saturday. Seemed that was the motif this year. You guys had 17 come-from-behind wins this season. I don't know if you ran that number. I ran that number because I started to notice a trend at the end of the year where teams got up on you guys, and you were able to battle back. Talk about that Friday game first.
Well, I let you run the numbers, and then I just take credit for it when I spit it out to the boys. No, just being able to show resiliency and know that you're never out of a game. Whether it's 5-1 going into the third, we've seen 4-1 going in the third, 3-1 going into the third, or down 2-0 like we were in Watertown that game one. So overall, just kind of having that belief that you're never out of a game is huge, and it there's teams that can sense doubt and can really kind of mail it in, and we're just not one of those teams that quits, and it's awesome to see. And now they can rely on those type of experiences going forward to know, hey, we got this, like whenever we're in that type of situation.
What'd you say between the periods, between the first and the second period, to get the guys, the legs finally started clicking a little bit more? What did you say in between the periods?
I'll keep it a little PG-13, but I basically told them to wake up and if we're going to continue this way, it's not going to be good. So, like you said with the legs, we did not have our legs in that first period, and then we found them going into the second period. I really think the 4-on-4 really helped us out. And anytime we can get even numbers and create more space on the ice, I just don't know what it is with 3-on-3. We figured it out towards the end of the year, but 4-on-4 we seem to excel very well with the space out there. So once that kind of happened, we saw a couple goals go in, I was like, all right, we're back, and we kind of found our mojo or juice, per se.
Yeah, and those goals kind of came pretty quickly, too, in the second period, close to each other and everything. When you looked up at the end of the second period and you saw the score, did you go into the second intermission and speak a little bit differently to the team, or was it a little bit of the same of the first intermission?
No, it was totally different. Like, it was a little bit more confidence and knowing, hey, boys, we got this, and we just got to stick with it and capitalize on our opportunities. And then I talked a little bit about the goals because they were very quick, like, touches. So you knew what you were doing with the puck before it came, or it got off the stick pretty quickly, whether it was Fitz's backdoor opportunity or Steph's. Steph got a one-timer off pretty quick, and that was kind of the message, like, hey, let's not let this goalie get set. Let's get these pucks off quick and know what we're doing with it beforehand. But that scramble in front, staying with it, I was so happy the ref didn't blow it down. Sometimes when they lose sight of the puck, they end up, blowing the whistle. But I think the real dagger was Steph's pass-off pad play to Gavin Yates where he buried that. So we're going to need some of that going into Motor City, and it was definitely, the intermission was, hey, we found it. Let's carry this momentum and keep it up.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Saturday night. You guys win that game in a more dominant fashion. You've had some games like that this year. I believe it or not, when I started looking at you, you've had a 10-0 win. Obviously, against Mississippi. You've had other big wins and everything. But to have a big win like that after the game up in Watertown, but to have it here to close out the series, great confidence. I'm sure the boys probably celebrated pretty hard after that game.
Yeah, they. I told them to keep it mindful after the game because we have a big series coming up, and we thought we were going to be playing on Wednesday. So it was like, hey, you can have a couple pops, but make sure this ain't going to be a 2-day hangover type of deal. Like, you got to know that we're on a mission and we want to get a job done. But I think at home it's just so different. Yeah. It's the crowd, it's being in this locker room, and then it's our starts to the game, like, where we just play a lot better.
Does that give you nightmares at night sometimes, the starts of these games? Because there are a few, and it's only been a few, where the starts aren't what you would hope for.
Yeah, it is. And I think kind of what's changed with my message is sometimes I go a little too deep into the pregame, and sometimes I'm handing out too much information or details where, hey, let's just focus on the first 5 minutes. What do we do in these first 5 minutes? Mm-hmm. We want to manage the puck well. We want to get it in deep. We want to take care of the blue lines. And we want to stay D-side and not really give up anything, and also funnel pucks to the net. So those three things are what we harp on, and then we readjust after the media timeout and kind of have a little meeting there. Hey, what are they doing here? Mm-hmm. We got to counter it this way, or we need more something else, whatever it might be.
Let's talk a little bit about Motor City now. They played 3 games against Danbury. They actually went into Danbury and got that win, that first game, which I thought was pretty impressive on their part. And then, of course, they go back home, and Danbury gets their win there. And then Game 3 on Sunday. You guys were already done. Some of you guys were probably watching. I know there was somebody up at a mall somewhere because I taught, a little bit of texting behind the scenes and everything. So some were interested, some people weren't. I think that's a healthy thing, right? You have some guys that are really into it and everything, and maybe sometimes a little too much to see who they're playing against, and then some guys relaxing and everything. How did you go into Sunday being the head coach of the team?
I'm trying to pick up on every detail, and sometimes when you're watching it, you don't, and you have to rewatch it again, maybe 2 or 3 times. But I was pretty attentive during that game, and even popping back and forth with the Carolina Port Huron game too. I like watching the other teams in this league. I like seeing what they're doing. Maybe you can steal some ideas from them, but also preparing for the opponent next. So
And just for everybody knows, he's actually watching the Tampa Bay, Florida game right now here while we're doing this interview. So he's like 90% me, 10% that game that's on right now. You watch a lot of hockey even when it's not the Black Bears, right?
100%, especially first round of playoffs. There's games on every night, so I'm loving it. I think it's the best time of year. It's just a matter of balancing your own team and then watching as a fan of the NHL.
Can you give me a scouting report on my Rangers and how they played in the first two games against the Caps?
Well, it's funny. We were talking before the game, and I looked like a genius with you talking about the fourth line because I was like, I just saw it off the bat, like. Engaging off a face-off. It
was Rempe that scored.
Yes.
If it was Gaudreau or that would have...
Vesey gets one.
Yeah,
but,
once in a while, but it was Rempe that gets it. And that's what was kind of funny.
I know. I did think that line was going to be a big difference. And Laviat, he put him out there in the right situations when, like, after a goal or things were getting roughed up, he'd throw them out there, and I think they might have got more minutes than the third line and second line, in my opinion.
Is that hard to do? Because you have to obviously manage that with your third line, right? Is it hard to get that matchup the way you want it, especially for your third line?
It all depends on the team you're playing against. So yes, with Watertown, it's like, I want Kirkby against Leeson.
Yeah.
Now, with Motor City, I think they're a little bit evenly dispersed. So, I think they have, a solid three lines. We talked about this before. I think they have 3 second lines.
Yeah. And they have skilled defensemen,
yes,
right?
that can skate.
Who keep their stick down, and they're trailing back and forth, which makes it difficult.
Yes, 100%. Motor City is the best stick positioning team in the league, in my opinion, especially on the PK, especially in the D zone and neutral zone. They disrupt passes. They break up a lot of plays, and then they transition quick off it. I think that's kind of their MO. That's that's their identity is good stick positioning and breaking up plays, and then transitioning quick and trying to score off that rush. That's what they do amazingly well. But as far as watching the playoffs, I got to watch a ton on Monday, but then yesterday I had to take a back seat and watch a lot a lot of our games Motor City's games. So,
I understand that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Everyone's asking me this morning, you see that? And I'm like, crap, I wish. But I really wanted to catch the Winnipeg game last night because everyone was ranting and raving about the crowd and the whiteout and stuff. So
it really did.
It looked amazing.
Yeah.
And, you like to kind of see those atmospheres, but unfortunately, yesterday was a federal league day for me.
Tell me why, Federal League Day. Tell me why, when I look at Motor City, I see Trevor Babin, and everybody else is kind of saying, not so much.
It's because I've been harping on it this week. I don't want to give them I don't want to put them on this pedestal.
Sure.
I compare it to my own experiences, and I've watched this kid get cut from the SP 3 or 4 different times. I've seen us light him up here at home. I've seen Columbus put 7 on him. I just don't like that. I think we have better goalies here, and we rant and rave about Babin and all this stuff when I think Connor and Nolan are right there with them, but for some reason, I think in this league we tend to migrate to players that are a little bit more out there, I guess, like Lisa and Jesso, anyone that's stirring stuff up or taking penalties, they
get a lot of attention.
They attract the fan,
yeah.
And people tend to like them because it's they're a fiery person and stuff. So
what's the game plan against Babin?
Be in front of his crease all night, talking shit to him all night, not shutting up with him, and then ripping pucks past his ears.
Who are the guys on your team that you want to really put the slap shot on him? I'm going to guess Olivieri.
Donald Olivieri, Connor Smith, Tyson Kirkby, Austin Thompson, Dakota Bond. I'd like to see Matthew has a really
good shot. But Austin
shot.
might be down in front of him a little bit more, so he might not be able to rip one.
So Austin's job is going to be tough. He's probably going to take a beating in front, and he's going to have a ton of bruises all over him, and he's going to be annoying, and he's going to get pounded in the back of the head. He's going to get cross-checked. But if it's...
I saw it against Danbury, where it was like multiple cross-checks to the back. Boom, 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 boom. And it's just like Austin just stays there.
Last regular season game against Elmira, Schultz is pounding on him left and right.
Over and over
He's taking it, holding this position, and I kept telling him when he come back to the bench, I was like, dude, it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. Boom. Pays off. I think it was 5-on-5. I don't think it was on the power play. But that stuff... It really matters. It's annoying. It's a distraction for the defenseman too. So it might open up like a backdoor opportunity because they're so glued
to him.
A lane
might open up because he's paying so much attention to someone like Austin Thompson, who's done a great job all year long in that
front. Yeah, it was. We talked about this, I think a couple days ago.
I literally named his podcast episode Net Front.
Net Front, yeah. He didn't. So when I first came in,
he didn't play that way.
He was Gary's guy. He was Gary Gill's guy. Gary recruited him, and he was a little bit more perimeter. Mm-hmm. And he's skilled. He's got a great shot. He's got good vision. But I just didn't see him going to the next level that way. I was just like, this guy...
So his game is better now because of this
now he's ready. He's ready to play in the SP. It's just a matter of a team just giving him an opportunity.
And a real opportunity.
Opportunity. Yeah. And he'll excel in that position of like a 10th, third line forward. He can play the PK. He can play net front power play. He can play third line, first line, and that's what's going to create value for him as being a utility knife and kind of adding this part to his game. I forced it on him. He didn't like it at the start, but he's bought into it, and he's our best guy since Mac Lewis left.
Tell me what you expect Friday night.
Expect us to come flying out of the gate. I expect it to be a fast game. I don't expect a lot of time and space out there on both sides. We're going to have to make quick puck decisions, and sometimes we're going to have to live the fight another day, and that means just getting the puck out when you get a chance, maybe icing it when you get a chance, and then maybe not making that move at the offensive blue line and just making sure we're putting it in a spot where we can get it back. Keeping it away from Babin because I know he likes to play it, so we want to put it in the soft corners, or if it's a hard wrap, it's got to get all the way around. He can't stop it.
Awesome. Coach, thank you very much. Good luck this weekend, and hopefully we're talking again maybe next week about a championship series.
I hope so. That's you're nervous about it, but that's what we came here to do this year, and anything short of that will be a disappointment.
Awesome. So, Coach, thank you very much.
You're listening to the Power Play Post Show. Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. As we get you ready for the Motor City Rockers series against the Binghamton Black Bears, I decided to bring back somebody that we had a great time, and probably the most listened to podcast of the season was with this gentleman. He is the Don of Binghamton. He is Don at Olivieri, but he's in Philadelphia right now and everything, at his home with his family and everything. Don, welcome back to the show. It's good to talk to you again.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back.
Don, let's talk a little bit about this past weekend against the Watertown Wolves. Now, I've been saying this all season, the Empire Division, strongest division in the FPHL, and there's no Delawares. There's no Elmira Mammoths this year. Elmira and Watertown, all the teams really a lot closer knit and everything. And I think people probably misunderstand the first game against Watertown where you guys went down 2 goals. I think smaller rink size. I know Binghamton really likes the bigger ice surfaces. Can you talk to me a little bit about that first period where you guys did go down 2 goals?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't the best start we had. And, in playoffs, the first game, whether it's home or away, it's always the most important. And, the way we showed up, we look like it was just another day, and that wasn't the right mindset. And going down 2-0 real quick, that kind of woke us all up. And and you brought up the ring size too, and that ring size definitely gives a slight advantage to Watertown, because we're kind of a better skating team, and I think we have more speed than them, and they got to just play their game of chip it off the glass, chip up the middle, and just try and beat our D. And you know what? It worked. The 2 goals they scored, it worked. And like I said, after that first period, I mean, a couple of veteran guys stepped up, and we had discussions in the locker room. Brant came in, gave his 2 cents, and you see what happened after that.
Now, does he come in after the first intermission, or after the first period, during the first intermission? Is he angry? Or is it just more of like just trying to fire you guys up? I mean, because it's 2 goals, and let's be honest, I did the numbers. 16 times this season, in the regular season, the team was behind at one point in the game, and they came back to win the game. So does he come in, fiery? Does he come in, very excited? Or is it more of just, kind of like a pep talk?
After the first, it was kind of a mix, sometimes as a coach, you might be a little overly fired up, and there are times to come in and blow up on a team, and there are times to come in and maybe try and just settle us down. But he did a nice little mix of both. Gave us the business a little bit with maybe some of the lazy play that we had, but also reminded us, how good of a team we are and how many comebacks. So, just no panic at all. He just kept reminding us that we got to get back to our game and make them play with us and us stop playing to them. So, it was a little bit of mix of both, and then, like I said, a little bit of the veteran leadership stepping up in the locker room as well, stating, saying what's on their mind. And I think after that, we kind of just took off and didn't look back from there.
JT Walters, I think, was behind the bench with Brant. He didn't play. He's one of the veteran defensemen. He's kind of done it all in this league and everything. What were the kind of things that he was telling the guys? I know you were playing forward, so you probably didn't get much information from him as he's he was obviously helping out the defense rotation. But do you think it was helpful to have someone like JT behind there helping Brant with the defensive rotation?
Yeah, I mean, he's a great guy. He's a leader. He knows a lot about hockey in the game, and he's definitely a big help. I mean, on the ice, off the ice, and he's kind of like me. Wherever you need him, he's there for the team no matter what, and that shows what kind of guy he is. So, but you usually see more off the ice than when playing, and he used that ability to kind of, settle our D in, and tell him to stay back. Like maybe these aren't one of the games where our D can be offensive. Like maybe this is a stay-at-home kind of game, and which it was, and like I said, after that first intermission, I honestly I think we played close to a perfect game, and we rolled it into Saturday.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, the last 40 minutes were very good. And one of the things that I noticed, and kind of, maybe you can help clarify this for some of the fans, the team, when say a penalty happens and then the Wolves take a retaliatory penalty and then it's 4-on-4, what makes Binghamton so good to be able to play 4-on-4 where the ice opens up a little bit?
Like I said before, I think our skating is just a lot better than probably 90% of the teams in this league. And I think that helps us out a lot more because obviously the ice opens up, and and I'm pretty sure we banged 2 goals home on 4-on-4.
Yep.
You have guys on the back end like Fitzgerald who can fly. You give him a little bit of room, he can fly. Stone, any of our D, honestly, you give them open space, they can fly, and that 4-on-4 helps them, join the rush. And then Yates, you can give him the puck, and you can fan out to the wings and just let him do his thing, and it's it's just a kind of a better game, honestly, 4-on-4 for us, because they're just guys that are just so good at skating that, you know, it just works.
Yeah, and it seemed like the Wolves kind of shot themselves in the foot. Their captain, Tate Leeson, took 4 penalties. 3 of them ended up, you know, basically matching up with the Black Bears, and keeping him off the ice for that amount of time obviously hurt their team and everything. You know, it's interesting. I kind of figured that was going to be kind of the series and everything. But on Saturday, you know, after the first period, it was a complete reversal from the night before and everything. And you guys had scored, you know, 4 goals. And Connor Smith, I mean, he just kind of like, boom, there it was. You know, he took the kind of the weird hit in the game on Friday night and then turned around and scored the first goal for the Black Bears. And that really kind of sparked everything.
Yeah, that hit that he had, you know, he was a little loopy the whole game, and which is understood. It was a pretty kind of a scary hit.
Right.
But yeah, he came back Saturday night. That first goal he had, that was amazing, man. That just showed that, you know, he didn't give up on the puck at all, and he just kept grinding away, beat that kid and put it in. Nice goal. And I mean, when you do that and a team sees that kind of effort, you know, that obviously is going to spark the team. Like, you know what, holy shit, this guy's going. Like, let's go. You know, everybody wants to go after that. And after, you know, they kind of went up 2-0 on us Friday. I mean, we felt embarrassed a little bit. You know, I know we won the game, but we wanted to, you know, kind of give it to them and make sure they know that we are the better team, even though they had a nice little 2-goal lead on us for a little bit.
Yeah, without a doubt. And after Connor Smith's goal, Dakota Bond, shorthanded. And one of the things that I have noticed this year, and I'm sure you've noticed as well, is that on the power play and or when you guys are down a man, somehow, some way, Dakota Bond or one of the, you know, the D-men that are on the power play just seem to find a way to make a great play. Now, of course, he scored a goal, shorthanded. That's great. You guys go up 2-0. But it just seems like you guys are so skilled on both the power play and the penalty kill that it almost seems like no matter what another team does, you guys are going to find a way to kind of bang one in.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's what makes us a great hockey team is, you know, both ends, power play and penalty kill, we're pretty solid. You know, Kirkby does a lot of heavy lifting on the PK and power play. Tomer does too, and you know those two guys. I mean, they can score shorthanded goal at any moment. You know, you have, like you said, Dakota Bond. That kid can clearly score a shorthanded goal at any moment. So I mean, it makes us pretty scary that we just have an overall great team starting from the first line down to the 10th forward. It doesn't matter, you know, and you could put anybody in any position and they're going to succeed because that's just how this team is, and we all just click no matter what.
What clicked for you that night? Because you got 2 power play goals, and you know, you seemed like your regular self, you know, on Saturday night, you know, scoring 2, and you know, you don't always score them always on the power play, but you do score a lot of them on the power play.
Yeah, no, I just felt good Saturday. You know, both own power play goals, so I mean, I got to give my hats off to the whole power play unit. We were moving the puck well all night, and I mean, I just had 2 opportunities, and I happened just to put them home, and that's that. I mean, you know, we want to take every advantage we can with every power play we have because special teams usually is what wins playoff games, and I had 2 opportunities, and I'm glad that I got to help out and put them in the net. So, I mean, like I said, I gotta thank all the other guys. They do all the work. I just shoot.
Yeah, no, I get it. And Tyson is definitely the guy. I mean, Kirks is definitely the guy who's out there for every power play, every penalty kill, and he seems to put a lot of the work into it and everything. You were having a lot of fun on Saturday. We were talking about a little bit off air, and I want you to kind of touch upon it a little bit. You were smiling, you know, you were really antagonizing a little bit the Wolves and everything, and getting in the penalty box and blowing kisses and everything. How much fun did you have Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like kind of the game plan going in is, you know, all playoff series, you want to shut down Leeson. Leeson's their guy.
Right.
And I think Friday night, I was on the score sheet, but I took a different approach and kind of played more of a defensive style game. Threw some offense in there, did what I do, but I think our line kind of did a really good job shutting Leeson down Friday, and I don't think he had any points or anything. And then Saturday, after Leeson, Friday when Leeson cross-checks Spitty and does his antics, I think it just fired us up, and I told Kirkby, like, I'm gonna get Leeson, I'm gonna get him kicked out of the game, or I'm gonna get him penalties again, and we're gonna bury this team tonight. And it's fun when you notice you can get under the skin of the guy. I mean, he two-handed me in the back of the leg. When he does that, I'm doing something right.
Right.
So it hurts, but it's fun. It's fun knowing that you're getting under the skin of their captain, their top guy, and I mean, it worked out well. I know he scored that one goal, which was kind of a breakdown for a few of us, but I mean, having 1 point in 2 games in playoffs, I think we did a pretty good job against it.
Yeah, and that's probably the mindset for going into that. Now let's talk a little bit about the Motor City Rockers, and they have a solid defensive type team. Gordy Brown, that's kind of what he coaches. They like to play a 5-man unit where they're basically wherever the puck is, that's where they're going to center themselves. What do you? I mean, you haven't played against Motor City this year. Your schedule just didn't work out that way. Or at least I don't think you have.
I actually played against them when they came. I played against them twice.
Okay. When they were in Binghamton.
So, yeah, they came to Binghamton for that weekend.
Okay, so you did play. So what do you remember? What is the scouting report that you guys are thinking about going into this series?
I know everybody keeps talking about this, the Babin, the goalie. I'm almost certain he wasn't there when I played, so I didn't get to see him.
No.
But, I personally still think, I mean, we're a better skating team, just like I stated against Watertown. I also think we're a better skating team than Motor City. I think we're a lot more physical than Motor City. I don't think they want to play that physical game. I don't think they want to I think they just want to play that run and gun, see who scores more goals kind of game instead of playing that, heavy, hard playoff hockey kind of game, and I think that's where the advantage comes in for us. But I know they have some very good defensemen. Their D can move the puck, their D can skate, so there's some guys to look out for there. But I think if we play tough, I'm not saying go around and run guys, but if we play tough, just rub a guy's shoulder out, let them know that we're going to be there all night. I think that advantage is going to go to us, and I think they're not going to want to play against us.
Is that something that you can help with? I know people always see you as the guy on the power play shooting and stuff, but is that something that you can do, help get that physical game going?
Yeah, I joke around with Brant all the time because, obviously I played defense for 6 years of my career, and I always made jokes, man, when he put me on offense last year for the first couple of times. I looked at him and I said, man, it's going to be so nice to be on the other end of just running D instead of getting my ass ran all the time. and he always used to laugh at it, but now he comes up to me and he goes, you probably have like 10, 12 hits a game. It's incredible. And you know what, I just love it. I don't need to, absolutely lay somebody out, or I don't go out to hurt guys, but right. I know if I make my physical presence there, that, if I'm coming down on the D, it's going to make him second guess a move he's going to make, or sometimes he's going to be like, oh, I don't want to take a shot from this kid. I'll just let him get the puck first and try and tie him up. So I'm gonna I like that part of the game a lot. Obviously I like scoring, but I like the physical part of the game a lot, and I think that's going to be huge for playoffs with our whole team.
Probably if I could point out a weakness that I've seen for the Black Bears, when they go on the road and they play Friday night, it's tough. We saw that a little bit in the first period of Watertown last year, and it's not the first time we've seen it for Binghamton when they go on the road. Maybe down to Carolina, they have a weak first period, or go out to Michigan like they did already a couple times this year and everything. How do you guys overcome that? How do you get out there in the first period and just, take it to them in the first game. That's probably got to be maybe the hardest, but maybe not the most important thing that has to happen in the game, correct?
Yeah, I mean, always playing away is always tough, no matter what, because you're more comfortable at home, right, with all your fans, your locker room, your normal routine of eating,
sure,
going to the rink in the morning, so it doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes away or whatever. It's always still tough, but I think this year, I think Thursday's a travel day, so we'll all be up there a day early. So I think there should be no excuses. We'll all be in a bed. We'll all be rested. So I don't think there shouldn't be any excuses at all. Which, I mean, travel should never really be an excuse, but I think Friday night you guys are going to see a different first period team this year, and it just, like I said, last year, getting knocked out by Danbury in the second round, it left a real foul taste in all our mouths, and this is where we're at last year, and I think we're all pretty geared up because we what happened last year shouldn't have happened, and we're not going to let that happen again this year.
Yeah, you've mentioned that a couple times to me between the first interview that we did and talking off air and stuff like that. You guys are really going into this second round as, this it's not going to be last year. It's not going to be the year before. And I know you weren't there the year before where they lost to Danbury in the first round, then lost Danbury in the second round, and now you're in the second round against Motor City. So there is still, even though it's not Danbury, it's not the hat tricks, it's not the weird orange jerseys across from you, you guys are still determined no matter what to get to that championship series.
Yeah, and like I said, I know I haven't been there during the week with my other obligations, but I know how it feels that, every single day you're practicing, you're grinding at practice, working out, watching film for 6-7 months, you're away from your family, and it's to get to this point, but this point's not enough, we want that championship, and that's what it is, and I think, it's that with the guys from last year, that second round exit was real bitter. I mean, that's also another reason why I came back, because that's a bitter taste in my mouth, and I think the guys are just we're ready for that. We're ready for the championship round, but we know we have a good team ahead of us, so we don't want to get too over fired up and come into a game thinking ahead, and then we open our eyes and we just got our asses kicked.
Right.
So we're trying to stay even keeled, but there is that chip on our shoulder.
Don, before I let you go, Saturday night you're going to have family in the house, a little bit more than just your wife and your little baby and everything. So how important is Saturday's game for you? Because number one, you'll have your little one there, and I've seen the pictures. She's adorable and everything. But you're going to have family there, more than just that and everything. So talk about how important Saturday's game is to you, because you're a father now, and and I think it probably rings a little different than maybe 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, my mom and dad are coming, and then my in-laws are coming, and my wife and my daughter are coming. But it's obviously a little different now than a father. Playing all those years of pro, my parents made, a decent amount of games. I know sometimes I was too far from them, but, you never really appreciate what your mom and dad they do for you until you become a father, and see the things that you do for your kid. And I know my baby's only 5 months old, but I still go above and beyond and do whatever to make that baby laugh or, whatever. And now to have my parents to come to a playoff game like this, and, you never know what's going to happen after this year.
Right.
It's going to be definitely going to be a special weekend. I'm hoping we don't make it a long weekend, but, it's going to be a special weekend, them coming, and then seeing me play again, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be the first time they saw they're coming to see me play since my last year in the SP. I'm almost certain, so that's pretty certain. And then her in-laws, they actually came up one time this weekend, and they're kind of starting to get in hockey a little bit. They really love the Binghamton game and stuff, so it'll be nice. But having my daughter come up is going to be it's definitely going to be something else. I know she's not going to remember it and stuff like that, but for me and my wife, it's going to be super special. And whatever happens, I'm glad that my daughter's going to be there to at least see her dad play, because you just never know.
Yeah, and there's going to be pictures, and that's the important thing. You get some pictures, with the family and with her, and you can say, listen, this is what Dad used to do, and you don't remember this, but that was you there with him and everything. And, of course, you got to do the token picture where you come off the ice and you're all sweaty and everything, and you grab a hold of her, because she's going to give you that weird look, and they're going to capture that in a picture, and she's going to be like, Dad, what was I doing there? And you were like, well, I was sweaty. What do you want? I was hot, and you were confused, and you were 5 months old. What are you going to do? And it'll be a memory that you guys will have for the rest of your lives, and that's the most important part.
Yeah, like I said, I know my family and stuff. I know it's going to be a special weekend, but hockey obviously comes first to me, and I know what my job is to do. But when all things are said and done, I'm gonna try to make it as special as I can for her, and maybe wheel her around a couple laps after the game.
That's awesome.
And maybe introduce her to some fans, and just hopefully she's good. I don't want to bring a crying baby to the stadium.
Well, hopefully. Well, okay. Well, then make sure you keep your gloves on during the game. She doesn't need to see Daddy fight and everything, unless he absolutely has to and everything. Because that'll be a little strange for her. But again, 5 months old. We don't know what she's going to remember and whatnot. Don, thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate it. Good luck this weekend against Motor City. Going to be a tough one, obviously in Motor City. But I hope you guys, get your wheels under you really quick in that game, and good luck this weekend, and I'll see you at the rink on Saturday at least.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's always good talking to you.
Awesome. And we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. Great set of interview and conversation with three of the important people on the Binghamton Black Bears team. Obviously, that is Coach Sherwood, Jesse Anderson, alternate captain, and, of course, Donald Olivieri. Should be a lot of fun and everything. So let's get to it, the must-read, so we can get out of here for this week's edition of the Power Play Post Show. The Power Play Post Show is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on whichever platform you listen to your podcast, and please subscribe. Please join the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. Just go to Facebook and search for the Power Play Post Show. Check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your Binghamton hockey information and curiosity. Thank you to Rob Lapoulos, our MC, John Petitucci, our musical director, and Binghamton Black Bears, Donald Olivieri, Jesse Anderson, and Brant Sherwood. Now, this upcoming Sunday here on the Power Play Post Show, we're really excited to have from the Elmira River Sharks, former Binghamton Black Bear, former Watertown Wolf, and a four-time Defenseman of the Year. We're talking about Kyle Powell. We'll talk about him, his career, and possibly his future as well. So this Sunday, we're going to wrap up this weekend's games with the Binghamton Black Bears versus the Motor City Rockers, and then we will talk to Kyle Powell about his career and his future. So this is going to be a great interview. I hope you guys tune in for that one. He's one of the most liked and one of the most respected players. And I think I can get people from both Watertown, Binghamton, and Elmira to listen to that interview just alone right there, which should be awesome. So, folks, enjoy the games this weekend. If you're driving out to Motor City, if you're driving out to Fraser, Michigan, be safe. Cheer for your Black Bears. And if you're a Motor City Rockers fan, you know, you guys are going to put up a huge fight against the Binghamton Black Bears. We all know it and everything. So either way, thank you for listening, everybody. And I'll talk to you guys again on Sunday. And I'll be at the rink on Saturday, maybe even on Sunday as well. Thank you for listening to the Power Play Post Show, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Patitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.